All right, ordinarily on Tuesdays we do Lindsay Picks the Topics Tuesday, but no Lindsay today. But the show must go on, so I've enlisted Rachel the Web Girl to throw some topics at me. Rachel, say hi.
Hey, what's up?
All right, that's Rachel. She's got some stuff she wants to ask me. Rachel, fire away.
Okay, many came away from Sunday's Bengals win with more concerns about the Bengals defense. Were you as unimpressed as many national observers with the defensive efforts against Washington?
You know, it's funny you say that because many national writers focused in on Sunday night and Monday morning on what the Bengals did poor defensively. And there was a lot that they did do poor. They gave up a 17-point deficit. They surrendered nearly 400 yards of total offense yet again, and they gave up 24 points. Remember, 7 of Washington's points came on the pick six. But I tend to focus a little bit more on the first half when the Redskins, running a more conventional offense, weren't very good. RG3 looked pedestrian. 4 sacks, a passer rating of just 58 in the first half, and DC converted just 1 of 6 on third down, and they only had 68 yards of total offense at halftime. The Bengals took Washington and made them change what they were doing offensively. They switched to the triple option, and it was effective. The Bengals had a hard time stopping it. They looked confused, and they tackled poorly. But I looked at what Washington did in the second half, and I think that's pretty hard to apply to what the Bengals have in front of them. Not many quarterbacks on Cincinnati's schedule are going to be running the triple option. Can you imagine Tony Romo running pitch outs, or Peyton Manning and Eli Manning duplicating each other's efforts in the option? I can't. This Bengals defense has to get better. I actually thought without Leon Hall, the secondary took a major step forward. Longest play that Washington had, 29 yards. And with Carlos Dunlap back on the defensive line, they were much, much better. They were good against conventional style offense in the first half, not so good against unconventional style offense in the second half. The good news is, and I know the Bengals struggled against pocket passers and Flacco and Whedon in weeks 1 and 2. The Bengals are a lot more likely to see what they saw in the first half against Washington than the second half.
All right. Everyone is talking about the NFL's replacement referee fiasco.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like everyone is missing the major issue here.
Yeah, it does seem like people are sort of missing the main point. I've heard from a lot of people that have said, well, look, the real referees make mistakes too. And yeah, they do. Look, if the NFL locked out the players today and they went with replacement players and we saw fumbles, bad tackling, really just poor execution, would we say, well, hey, the real players fumble as well and the real players miss tackles as well? No, we wouldn't. The issue isn't missed calls. Even as egregiously bad as the missed call was in Seattle last night, the issue isn't that. The issue is the NFL, which has the best players and best football minds in the world trying to pass off unqualified and substandard referees as standard. It's insulting to the intelligence of you and me. Look, you and I devote a lot of time to the NFL. Watching games, talking about it, going to games, buying apparel, whatever. We deserve legitimate outcomes. What we got last night in Seattle was not a legitimate outcome, and what we've gotten so far the first 3 weeks, more and more so as the season has progressed, are referees unqualified for their jobs and severely cutting into the legitimacy of the game. If the referees come back this week, they're going to make bad calls. Whenever they come back, they're going to make bad calls. We accept the human element. What we should not accept, and what I absolutely do not accept, is being sold a bill of goods on substandard referees that clearly are not up to par with what we're used to.
Well put. Okay, besides from keeping everybody fresh and healthy, and aside from playoff positioning, what's the biggest thing you want to see from the Reds in these final 9 regular season games?
Yeah, you mentioned playoff positioning. Look, I want the highest seed possible because I want, more home games. I don't really care who they play because they're going to get a good team. You could take any of the top 5 teams in the National League, and I think throw them in a hat, pick one out, and make a really good case for that team to represent the National League in the World Series. The one thing I'm looking for is actually 2. Number 1, Johnny Cueto, back-to-back starts. Earn my confidence in him pitching 2 games in the LDS and him fronting the rotation in the postseason. The Reds, at some point in order to win the World Series, must get good pitching from Johnny Cueto. Now, we tend to underscore the importance of everybody else. If the Reds are going to win 11 games in the postseason, at some point, almost everybody who starts is going to have to come up big. But none more so than Johnny Cueto. I want to feel better about him after tonight and after Sunday in Pittsburgh. And I want to see Aroldis Chapman come in and dominate. He made an appearance on Saturday. He closed out the clincher. but he wasn't dominant. He wasn't quite Aroldis Chapman. I want to see him overmatching and dominating hitters, and I want to see him reinstill the fear into batters in the postseason that we saw throughout most of the regular season.
All right.
Okay?
You are heading to Washington for the UC Virginia Tech game this Saturday.
Yeah.
Is this a must-win for the Bearcats?
All right. In terms of the season, not really. I mean, yeah, I guess if UC is going to compete for a national title, they have to run the table. But in a sense it is, because I know a lot of UC fans who get really mad. A year ago, the Bearcats went to Tennessee, and some writer wrote about the fact that UC was essentially a glorified Conference USA team. By the way, this was really before all the shifting in the Big East, even though we had learned about Pittsburgh and Syracuse leaving for the ACC. But a lot of UC fans got mad about that, and I remember at the time saying the way you shut people up is you win games against name opponents in other BCS caliber leagues or other BCS leagues. Now, the Bearcats have beaten teams from other BCS leagues in recent years. Beat Vanderbilt in the Liberty Bowl last year, a win over NC State in 2011, just a season ago. They've beaten Oregon State, Illinois, but they've also lost to schools like Oklahoma, Florida, Ohio State, Penn State, and yes, Virginia Tech in the Orange Bowl, and most of those games, frankly, weren't all that close. Those are games that people are paying a lot closer attention to than the Liberty Bowl or a matchup against a pretty mediocre Illinois team. In order to get people to stop writing about how you're sort of a mid-major, shouldn't be a BCS team, glorified Conference USA program, you have to start picking off name opponents. I know a lot of the luster of this game has been lost because Virginia Tech inexplicably lost to Pittsburgh, but this is a game a lot of people are going to be paying attention to nationally. Maybe not as much attention as paid to other games, but if you want people to stop writing the things they write about the Bearcats when it comes time to playing major opponents, start beating major, or in this case, somewhat major opponents. Tweet me and tell me what you think. I'm on the Twitter at MoEgger1530. And you can also shoot me an email, mo@espn1530.com. Rachel, the web girl, thank you for your help today.
Anytime.
All right. Say goodbye.
Bye.